Play-by-play broadcasting is a difficult industry to break into. The path is unclear. Jobs stay occupied for decades. One broadcaster has found a home with his alma mater. Ryan Urquhart enrolled at the University of Florida in fall of 2015, involving himself in student radio and broadcast production. In 2016, he started calling games freelance for the Gators Sports Network from Learfield, the radio home of Florida athletics. In August of 2025, it was announced that Urquhart will take on an expanded role. Ryan is now the lead voice of Florida Gators softball, women's basketball, and soccer.
Beaver fires a 2-2. Erickson swings and jets one deep to right field. That drops up against the pads. Wallace around third, in to score. Records all over. Jocelyn Erickson ties the game. She's got the Florida RBI.
Let's go back a little bit. You were a high school football player, decent prospect as well, but some injuries derailed things. When did you start considering play-by-play as a career?
Decent is overstating it. I was like a 0-star recruit or something. But I going back to, I'd say middle school, I used to do these like public speaking competitions. And that kind of paired with this hyperfixation I got into college football sort of blended into this, announcing would be really fun kind of thought process. And so in high school, I did like the morning announcements, started a sports segment.
Normally I'd end the segment with that silly catchphrase I made up 2 years ago. But today I think I will leave you with this. As always and forever, no matter what, go Wolves and goodbye Timber Creek.
And then that sort of was right in line with coming to Florida, and I remember getting in was just such a big rush, to get admitted to the University of Florida that has such a prestigious J school.
So Ryan, you're a Gator broadcaster. We have some big Gator plays, both recent and then this one from when you were a student. Austin Langworthy with a trip to the College World Series on the line. I know you remember this one.
A 1-2. Langworthy swings a high fly ball. Deep right field at the wall. It's off his glove and out. In the bottom of the 11th, Langworthy meets the moment. The Florida Gators are bound for the College World Series. A mob at home plate, an extra innings thriller in an all-time classic. Florida 3, Auburn 2.
That was electric.
No McHubert or Sean Kelly, but...
What did you do when you were a student here that helped develop your skill set as a broadcaster?
I really think getting involved with that student broadcast, with WRUF, with really everything I get my hands on in the J School. I was doing Gator Vision and production stuff my freshman year. All of that really helped me develop my skill set to be able to, start my professional career, hitting the ground running.
As a sophomore, Ryan earned the opportunity to broadcast games for Florida radio. He still remembers that first call.
It was in this building at Donald R. Disney Stadium. I had an opportunity to fill in with Learfield. It was my first ever game. And it was Rose Lavelle in Wisconsin coming in to play Florida for an NCAA tournament game. And it was a overtime golden goal. And I remember the rush of making that golden goal call. That's what sealed the deal for me. And I knew walking out of the stadium that night that this is what I was going to want to do for the rest of my life.
So your first broadcast on the Gators Sports Network was an NCAA tournament game. How are you feeling mentally entering that one?
So, I'm pretty sure somewhere in my Snapchat memories, there's a snap of me just going, I really want to go throw up right now. I remember the nerves pregame were pretty intense because it was.
So is this against Samford?
Yeah, it's to Mizell.
Second and 2, snap to Lagway, back in 5 to throw, scales the pocket, evades right, hit as he lets it go, deep right sideline, it is caught! Right side of the end zone, Aiden Mizell, touchdown Florida, and the Gators are up 27-7.
Sports broadcasting is a hard world to traverse. Having a mentor can be a big help.
Kyle has always been an instrumental force in my broadcast career, whether it was as a mentor, getting feedback from him, using him as sort of a model of where I wanted to be in the near future.
Kyle Crooks.
That one is gone! She's done it again! They had 4 different goal scorers in that game, including their freshman Madison Young. And for Florida, they're coming off a 40-point loss at LSU.
Was the voice of Florida softball, women's basketball, and soccer for 8 years before accepting a job as the voice of Nebraska Cornhuskers football in June 2025.
It was kind of perfect having someone who is about 5 years older than me in this profession to be able to talk to send tape to get feedback on, to call games with. I remember, I think it was my senior year of college, we were doing a super regional game. It was the second game with Florida and Tennessee. And I had kind of one of those broadcasting buffering moments where you just can't get the words out. It was going to a break. And I remember feeling like I was just in a tailspin mentally. Like I couldn't believe that I had just stumbled on air that hard. And Kyle kind of wrote to me back in and grounded me, and kind of got me into that next rep mentality.
With Crooks departing, the Gators job opened for Urquhart.
Swing and a chopping ball out to short side, glove shovel for one. That's all they get. The run crosses it. Florida's got the lead.
You couldn't tell these days, but Ryan wasn't always knowledgeable about the sports he now calls.
I grew up a football guy, so my baseball, softball knowledge was very limited, and I was very much learning it, trying to get a grasp of the sport. And I remember, knowing about stand-up doubles and triples, and there was it was like a base hit, and someone just hits a single. I was just like, and a stand-up single for Kaylee Kvistad, and I could just feel my analyst kind of go and move on. And later I realized that's a silly thing to say because 99.9% of those are standing up. But you have to make those mistakes, in a sport you may not be as familiar with, and in situations where you might be nervous or you might be anxious or things don't work, because you learn from that and you get better. I'm still making mistakes and learning from them. So that's all.
So when you're doing a TV broadcast, you're looking at the Gators from more of a neutral lens. And then when you're doing Gator radio, you're the home broadcast. How does the medium change how you cover Florida?
So the biggest thing is when you're on TV versus radio at Florida, on the TV side, whether that's SEC Network Plus, ESPN Plus, anything, your job is to act in line as a neutral observer. So you can be excited for the game, big moments, big opportunities, and you can draw on your proximity to the team to help inform your broadcast, but you're not there to homer, you're there to provide quality commentary for both sides, because viewership is coming from both sides.
Takes the touch, Maine finds the net. Bulldogs strike first on the 5th this year for Zoe Maine.
You want to do justice to their hard work and what they're bringing to the game, versus when you're on radio, you're still doing that to an extent, but your job is more to provide the Florida perspective on things and to act as an ambassador or representative for the Florida Gators. So you're a little more focused on their stories. Maybe you're bringing a little more excitement to those moments when Florida happens to relate more to the average fan.
Erickson, a curling ball over the shortstop, Woolley. No doubter for Williams to race in and score, and the Gators take it 9-8 over the...
They're both fun and challenging in different ways. I think with radio, it's kind of more fun to let your fan out a little bit, versus with TV, it's the challenge of teamwork and really appreciating the excitement of the game. Oh, well, this one, is this the Walter Clayton? Yeah. Minute 10 remaining. Clayton dumps it off, top of the key, passes back inside. Clayton will walk it back out. Three-pointer on the way. Good! Spirals through. Gators have the lead. Inside a minute to go, 78-77.
Ryan's came a long way as a broadcaster. His experience has prepared him well.
Trust yourself. It's easy to walk into a job like this and feel the expectations and the scale of this at the University of Florida. You have to trust yourself and you have to trust your process, that I've had years training, filling in, getting ready for this kind of opportunity. So that's all part of the process is, as you learn new sports, you can draw on your experiences. I know what it's like to be an athlete at practice, but I don't know what it's like to be an athlete at soccer practice or basketball practice. So try to absorb and understand those things and constantly gaining that context and constantly going through those cycles of learning and improving. That's the utmost important thing.